we require you to trust us to know what we're doing, right? So as martial arts instructors, like we've done this a really long time, and we've seen so many kids and adults come through this door, and we understand and trust the process. And so we're just asking parents to trust us in the process.
Right. It's not a one size fits all.
Correct.
What your child is capable of doing is not the same thing of what another child is doing.
Yes.
You know?
And we're not measuring kids against each other.
Right.
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 We're measuring kids based on their own individual progress.
Yes.
Welcome to the Black Belt Parenting Podcast. I'm really excited to have you here today because it's my first episode with a guest. Flying solo can be really lonely, so this is really exciting for me. And it just happens to be the episode is about partner in parenting, or partners in parenting. And so today I have one of my very special partners in parenting, Miss Tara DeSuze, and she's our program manager and office manager at Progressive Martial Arts. She, for me, is more than just somebody I rely on at work. She is also a partner for me in my work, at home, in all areas of my life, and it's sort of developed into this amazing friendship. And so I thought it was really appropriate to have her here today. Welcome, Tara.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So I think just to preface this episode, I just really wanted to express, and I've said this before in previous episodes, having partners in parenting is one of the most important things that you have to do as a parent. There's no parent out there who I think does it alone, and if they do, I hope that they listen to this episode or they listen to other episodes of anything and realize that you are not on an island, and parenting has to be done with partners, not just one, right, being essentially your spouse or whoever you're living with, but really your community. And so if you haven't developed a parenting community, you can't really effectively parent your child. So today I'm bringing in Tara because she's one of my most important partners. I think everybody at our school knows Miss Tara as the PMA Mom. So I just wanted to ask you, maybe introduce you to the audience as sort of who are your partners in parenting?
Okay, so thank you for having me.
Yay.
I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be your partner, not only at the school, but, you know, we've created this friendship, which is so important. It was important in my journey as a parent at the school, and hearing you, I know it's important in your journey, so that's really special. I am the biological mom to 3 children and 3 grandchildren, and I am the unofficial mom to hundreds who have or are currently at the school and who have come in and out of our doors. And that includes the adults as well.
Correct.
Because, you know, I yell at them just as much as I do the little kids. So that's my role at PMA pretty much. But I started, I think it's 15 years ago, maybe 16 now.
As a mom, right?
As a mom, with my youngest one, who was 4 at the time, and I was new to the martial arts world.
Yes.
So it wasn't anything that I knew. I didn't grow up thinking I wanted to be Bruce Lee or wanted to do anything remotely close to martial arts. So this was something new for me, and it was just something to have him do, get his energy out. So we came in, and the school was so welcoming, and I felt so a part of that team. You knew who his name was, you knew who my name was, you knew who my kids, the other kids were. So it was a great start off for us. And then shortly thereafter, my oldest one started. And then, you know, I sat there as the mom, the cheerleader. Woohoo!
But for yourself, like, because people have different family dynamics, and over your years, the partners in your life, who have been sort of like the molders and the village that you've relied on?
So my parents played a huge role for me in helping with my kids. I am a single parent, so having their support and help was tremendous for me. working, I needed to make sure that somebody could get my kids to and from whatever activities, not just martial arts, but whatever they were doing. And so they would step in and help. I had you and Sifu. You guys were definitely parenting partners for me at that time. You understood the needs that we had as a family and supported those needs. Or if you didn't understand, you didn't let on.
I think so. I think more so Nick. I think at that time he was much more attuned to what was happening.
Yes.
And so I feel like he was really aware of like your family's needs.
Yes.
So I think that was
very
really
supportive and welcomed the entire family.
Yes.
So even my parents coming in. I think the community was also friends. And it wasn't always the same group of friends. And I think people need to understand there are seasons to friendships. And there are certain friends who come in for a short amount of time and other friends who come in for a longer amount of time. And they meet certain needs depending on where you're at. And you meet needs for them as well. But it is, like you take those seasons. Don't look at it like you can't have the crutch to rely on or the helping hand. I think those are really important. They're, friends that I had way back when,
Yes.
10, 15 years ago, that are not in my life anymore at this time. And it's not a bad thing.
Right.
It's just a different season.
Right, and they were there for different stages of your kids' lives.
Yes.
And also their kids were around the same age as your kids,
Right.
so it kind of like worked out in the sense that you guys were experiencing the same journey at the same time.
Yes.
Because you came in during a time when I was early on in my experience as a teacher at PMA. My experiencing your group of moms was like my first eye-opening experience into the power of community. And so I saw the power of all of you always coming together as a group, and actually that the school was less about the kids on the training floor and more about the moms sitting outside and creating a place for them to kind of be together, have support, and also support each other in their kids' journeys through the martial arts.
Yes.
So it was like the first time I had a view into that. And so the natural progression of you actually coming to work at PMA was something that my husband saw, right? So Nick saw that first, and like, because I was so new to the whole experience, like I didn't understand the importance of the involvement of the parents. And so him seeing you and seeking you out to come work, I was like, do you think that's a good idea? Because I always felt like that there should be a wall. I know, I think
Yes.
I think you understand
I
it
understand
now.
the wall, yes.
I think you understand it now more than, maybe
More
back
than
then.
more than you understand the wall.
Yeah. But yes,
Because
right?
coming behind the desk was...
Because at a certain level, you just want to be like, okay, there's a professionalism, and I can't cross that line.
Yes.
But there's a balance, right? So I feel like you have to be able to cross the line sometimes, and then also create that wall of
Right.
professionalism. But to create the community and put your hand out to the community and open yourself up and be a little transparent is necessary to be a good partner, right? So the first break in my wall was when Tara came in and started working, because I was like really a little bit, is this okay? And then I realized like what great value it brought to the community, because you saw both sides.
I did, and I don't
still
know.
do.
I don't know that I necessarily knew where to put myself
Right, yeah.
in that. That
Yeah.
was a hard transition for me, going from the parent side to the working side, and I didn't always know where do I fit?
Yes.
How much do you give of yourself on the personal side?
Yes.
And how much do you have to be, okay, I need to set some boundaries.
Yes.
So that was a big learning.
I think now we have a very good understanding of it, having been here almost 11 years, right? And me, I don't even know. I think I'm like on my 20th year, but it's still like a balancing act for me.
Right.
And over the years, like breaking down that wall has been really essential in creating good partnerships with parents, right?
Right.
So along those lines, like what have been some valuable lessons you've learned in creating those partnerships as a parent? So like for you, like let's talk from Tara as like the parent, like what value has parenting with us as martial arts instructors been for your kids?
I think for me, the important thing on the parent side was knowing when to back off as the parent and let you be the instructors and you be the teachers and you be the outside opinion that the kids needed at that time, and maybe that I needed at that time, to know that I don't have all the answers and maybe somebody has better answers in this field. So that was an important thing for me, learning when to back off, learning when to ask for the help. It's not always easy to ask for help as a parent.
Yes.
Especially if you're a single parent. You want to be like, I'm super mom, I could do it all. Yeah. Don't tell me I can't.
And we see that all the time.
We do.
Right? We do.
And
single moms are particularly proud of themselves, and they should be, but at the same time, they need to sometimes allow themselves to accept help.
Because it's the prideful that comes in.
Yes.
It's yes, we're proud and we're prideful.
Yes.
And it's hard to know, when to cross over to, I'm putting out my hand and I need help.
That comes to a good point of trust. So how is that established in partnership?
It's hard and it takes a long time. And like you said earlier with our friendship now, this isn't something that just happened immediately.
No. But I think for both of us, that's like, it's a big deal for us to let people in.
It
right?
is. Yeah. It is. I can be very closed off and and very personal. I really want to say probably our friendship, even working together, didn't really happen until maybe, I don't know, like 6 years ago?
Yeah.
Maybe 6 years ago was like really like a pivotal point for us. And I don't know what the turning point was.
I don't either. I think we just allowed ourselves
maybe like finally let the walls down and or just got so used to each other being kind of so like-minded sometimes. Yeah. It's a growth process when you are going to build those friendships and have those partnerships.
Yeah. But as far as like you coming in as a parent and trusting the instructors, because this is a thing that I have sometimes with the students, parents, is allowing and trusting in the training. What do you have to do? Because you're saying it takes time.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't have that time, right? We want them to immediately trust us coming into this process.
Right.
So what would your advice be?
Trust the process. For me personally, I think I realized that I needed you guys and I wanted to trust what you guys were doing for my kids. It was when my son tested for his blue belt. Yeah. It was a blue belt test. And I just recently had started working. So it wasn't, and I happened to have been working that day and I walked onto the training floor when it was his test to watch as a parent. And I think I was complaining about his push-ups.
Yes.
And saying that they weren't. And you turned and you looked at me and you said, Tara, go off the training floor and let me do the test. And I did. I did.
You did.
I did. I did leave. And I wasn't offended because you weren't coming from a thing of telling me get off the training floor in a mean way or you don't know and get off, although maybe you were thinking it. No. And you would have been right to.
I think I understood where you were coming from. It was more from a place of compassion, I feel like, I hope.
I was coming from a place of, these are not push-ups. How are you going to pass him? How is he testing? To, you saying, can I please know what he's doing? And that in this field, I know better.
Yeah.
And let me be his teacher in this.
I think now as an instructor, you get that we require you to trust us to know what we're doing, right? So as martial arts instructors, like we've done this a really long time, and we've seen so many kids and adults come through this door, and we
Yes.
understand and trust the process.
Yes.
And so we're just asking parents to trust us in the process.
Right. It's not a one size fits all.
Correct.
What your child is capable of doing is not the same thing of what another child is doing.
Yes.
You know.
And we're not measuring kids against each other.
Right,
Right.
right.
We're measuring kids based on their own individual progress.
Yes.
Right. And we're aware of it.
Yes.
Right. You may not think that we are, but we are.
We absolutely.
Yeah. So,
absolutely are.
So that's the one thing that, I mean, now as an instructor, right, and somebody who's been doing this a really long time, like, that's the one ask that we
Yes.
want, right?
It's a huge ask.
The other thing that I think is really important is what we do, because you also enroll students at the school. And one of the main things we ask is, what are you looking to get out of, right? Martial arts.
Right.
So I think that as good partners, it's really important that we understand the mission and the values and the goals of each child,
Absolutely.
right? So when you're teaching, or you're sort of, because you are PMA Mom,
Right.
when you're kind of caretaking the students, is that in your head?
Always in my head.
Oh,
It's always in my head of their best interest. The parents and the kids, even forget the parents and the kids, even the adults of the
Yes,
school.
yeah.
It is always, I want to make sure that everybody is comfortable and happy, and that they know that the door isn't closed.
yes.
It's an open door. Please come and talk to me. Even if it has nothing to do with what's happening at the school, it ultimately does have something to do with the
Yes.
school. When you're having personal things at home, and I get it, you might not want to share, intimately what's happening, but you gotta let us know something, because I can't help, if I see a child is struggling somewhere along the lines, I can't help them get to their best self if I don't know what the struggle might be. Or I might be harder on them unnecessarily.
Yeah.
And I don't know that there's things going on, and I don't know that there's a struggle, and then that causes them to shut down, and then they don't want to come back anymore.
Right. Can you think of a time, because there's been so many, but can you think of a time when somebody's come to you and told you what's going on, and it's been like an aha for us?
I mean, I'm sure that there's been a million of them. I think recently I had a parent come into me, and they were explaining some things happening.
Yes.
And I said, thank you for telling me. And I think that that's the first thing I always want them to know. It's a scary step when you're inviting somebody into
Oh my God.
your personal life, and you don't know how they're going to respond. And a lot of people don't know me like that.
Right.
So, if you're entrusting me, that you're telling me something, you're sharing something with me, I'm going to take that as, first of all, the biggest compliment
Yeah.
that you're entrusting me. And second of all, I'm going to do whatever possible to make you feel comfortable and be able to address the issue at hand.
Yes.
Right? So that person came to me to disclose some things that were going on, and now I know, and now I can respond differently on the training floor. I can respond differently off the training floor.
Right.
I can do different reach outs. I can check in with the parent from time to time, make eye contact. I know when to be a little bit sterner,
Yes.
and I know when to be a little bit gentler.
Yes.
I know when to push, and I know when to, okay, we're gonna reel it back in a little bit.
What has been the result with the student?
They hadn't wanted to come.
Classic.
Yeah. Like there was that, I don't want to do this anymore. And you're
Yeah.
forcing me, and you're making me, and I don't want to. And then when there was the response, without them even knowing,
Wow.
now all of a sudden, oh, they just want to come all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it makes such a difference.
huge
right?
difference.
So that communication piece between the family, and no, you don't have to be like this, pouring out all your personal details.
Right.
But little things like understanding the wholeness of the family and what's going on and what's affecting the child can really impact not just what they're doing extracurricularly, but like the whole family dynamic,
Yeah.
right? It's so funny because we talk about this all the time. Like, that the office that we both use,
Yeah.
it's become like a psychologist's office
Yes,
sometimes,
yes.
because
We're not just
we're like,
martial arts instructor, the doctor's in. Yes.
because parents will often come in there to tell us things, you know, and we're not even asking for it
No.
sometimes, right? It's just like they have to tell us, and the trust that they've established
Yes.
has been key in us keeping students engaged and fulfilled, and
Yes.
not just in the martial arts.
No,
right?
right.
It's like in life,
Absolutely.
right? So that partnership that they've been allowing us to have with them has led to the success of their family.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about achievement success.
No.
Right? We're talking about like really feeling connected.
Yes. Right.
Because if you don't feel connected and you don't feel seen, like you're not going to be happy in anything you do, or you won't be successful in achievement.
Right.
Right.
It's the village.
Yes.
Right. And the village is it's everywhere you are a part of.
Yeah.
And you've got to utilize the people that are willing. Not everywhere is going to be willing.
Yes.
To do that.
Yeah. Agreed. So that's where I think it's important, where when people are searching out communities and partnerships, that they really do their due diligence, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes people just are like calling on the phone and like, how much are
yeah,
you?
price-
How
yeah,
much are
yeah.
you? And they're looking for like the cheapest
Right.
thing. And what is our response?
You need to come in.
Yeah.
You need to try it first.
Yes.
We might not be the right school for you. We might not be the right fit, but come in and try it first.
Yes.
And see. I've had parents come in, try a class. You know, I've sat with them and said, we might not be it. You might be looking at the prices or the schedule and say this is not a right fit. Just recently I had somebody, they came in with their child, they left, they said it was too far for the schedule, whatever, and ended up coming back a few months later because their child just wanted to be in my class.
That's right.
And I said, yes, because I'm the mom.
Yes, but also
So-
the confidence, you know, of the many repetitions of this that we've done.
Yes.
The understanding that this is not just about martial arts,
Right.
it's about developing community and
Yes,
partnerships.
right.
And it's so much more,
Yep.
right? The whole idea of going to a place and finding out if they're the right fit for you
Mm-hmm.
is looking for if they're having the same mission and values that you have.
Absolutely. And I
right?
said that to you even when I first came in, you know, with my son. We did a trial class and it was with a friend of his and it wasn't going to be his class. And then I asked, can we come back another? Because I want to try what would be his class. And, you know, you were like, yeah, sure. And we came in the next day and it was like, as soon as we came in, you immediately said his name, and it was like, you know, I'd never been to a place like that before, where you knew the kid when you just met them, and it was so inviting. So, like, I think, you know, again, not just us necessarily, but any place you're going to go,
Yes.
you have to feel like you're the puzzle piece that fits perfectly in
Yeah,
that.
and I think that what you said in the beginning is really important. So when you're looking for partners in parenting, right, you're looking for people that have the same mission and values as
Yes.
you. You're looking for people that kind of do things the same way you do. So like we talk about discipline, you know, the way that we conduct ourselves as teachers has to be in line with your
Yes.
value system and how you would raise your children,
Right.
right? Because if it doesn't, then we're always going to be in conflict, and you're always going to be testing us as instructors,
Yes.
right? And we've had
And we've
that.
had that. Yes, we have. We have had that.
That communication piece of understanding the family becomes really important in having like an effective partnership,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's continual, right? Because as the kids grow through the different stages
Yes.
of their lives, they're
Things
going to
change.
change, right? Your parenting might be different at certain stages, and that's where the seasonal parenting I think is really
Yeah.
important, right? So like there may have been parents who you were like-minded with at the age of 5 when your
Right.
kids were age 5,
Right.
but when it's hitting their tweens and teens, you're like, nah, I don't really
yeah.
agree with that
Right.
whole idea of, you know, maybe you don't want your kid on a device.
Right.
You know, maybe you don't want your kid hanging out with a certain group of people.
Right.
And so you still could be friendly with those people,
Sure.
but they may not be your partners.
people,
Yes,
yeah.
correct. Right. So I think that becomes an important piece of understanding where your kids are developmentally and who your support group is going to be.
Yeah, and trusting your own judgment, trusting your own,
Yeah.
you know, when you feel like something, this isn't right, like you said before, like, I don't really agree with that. Trust you don't, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
One of the reasons I love being around you so much is because you've done it already. Like your kids are grown, right? I mean, you know, for
Yeah,
the most part,
relatively speaking,
right?
sure.
We're past like the adolescence period, and they've kind of gone into adulthood. And
Yes.
let me tell you, Miss Tara's kids are all thriving, successful, happy kids, and that's a testament to who she is as a parent.
Thank you.
So, for me, she's my role model too, and she's an essential part of my parenting village or my partnerships, right? So almost every day, I'm like, Tara, because I'm going through tweens and teens right now.
Well, because I did it to you.
Yeah, well,
5 years ago, I
what
used to
did I
come in
know?
and say, you know what though? But I think that that's the thing is in your village and community, just because somebody doesn't have a child, maybe the same age, but they have that listening ear.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so it's like I can talk it through with you, you know, like and that's what you did for me. I was able to come in and just be like,
Yeah.
you know, and you'd be like, no, no, no. And, you know, you have a special love for my children
Yes.
because you've known them since they're, you know, yes. But it is the thing of just somebody listening sometimes,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
you know, so.
And being on your side.
Right.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, like, when you feel like you're alone, right? What's your go-to for like support? Like, what do you do?
First I sit by myself and don't talk to anybody and, you know, run it over in my head. What that's going to be on Inside Out too, right?
Yes.
The next you know, the
Anxiety emoji.
right. Hi, that's me. And then I think what I do or what I did was more, you know, you kind of feel out your audience.
Yeah.
And maybe you'll throw something out that's kind of what you're going through. Maybe waiting to see, like, okay, is this person going to take the bait? And, you know, it's not a bad thing, but
Yeah.
it's like, well, let me see how I think you might respond, or if you're giving me the inclination that you're open
Yes.
to talking about this. And then if I feel like you're that safe space for me, that no matter what I say, like, I don't, like, you should never feel judged.
No, I was just gonna say that.
You should never feel judged. And I think that is probably even before I was working here and before we had our relationship that we had, I don't think I ever felt judged by you, by Nick. Like I didn't feel that.
Yeah.
I never felt like I'm coming in and you guys are looking at me like, oh, here she goes. Here goes this one. God, run into the office and close the door and don't let her,
Yeah.
you know, don't let her see, don't let her. I never felt that way. And I think it's important that when you're going through something that you find people that you don't feel judged by.
Yeah.
Right?
So your support group are people that are like-minded,
Yes.
non-judgmental, right? Who support you no matter what.
Right. And can tell me the truth when I need to hear it.
Yes.
Right? Because there's plenty of times where I've done something wrong or said something wrong or responded the wrong way as a parent.
Yes.
And brought it to the attention of, you know, my community, you, Nick,
Yeah.
my parents, whatever. And then, you know, I got like the maybe the gentle, maybe a little bit harsher. Sometimes
Yes.
you need both.
Yes.
Sometimes, and I think that's the important in friendships is they know how to approach you.
Yes.
They know how to come at you so that you're going to hear what needs to be said. So I had gotten those where it's like, okay, you need to stop.
Yeah. I think what's really valuable about that is like you wouldn't get that if you didn't have a village.
No.
Right?
Right.
So you would be in your silo of like, this is what's right, and I think I know what's right.
And I'm
like,
just going to do it.
And then your kids suffer because
Right.
you're not supported.
Right.
Right? And then you're also not doing the right thing.
Right.
By
And I mean,
them.
and I'm sure, you know, I know I've made mistakes along the
Oh,
way.
God.
And,
Hi.
you know, there's like 10 years later, it's like, oh man, I wish I would have done it differently. And you can't undo what you've done.
Yeah, I think that sometimes the most valuable thing you say to me is like, it's okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
It's
You know,
okay.
they're still
They're
going to
gonna
love
be
you.
okay.
You're doing
Right,
your
yes.
best. You know, so like, but just having that, you know, and I think no one prepares you for parenting,
No.
and nobody tells you.
There's not a handbook.
Well, and also no one tells you like, oh my gosh, you're gonna have all these different kids with different personalities,
Yes.
and different obstacles,
Right.
right? And there's nothing. There's absolutely
You cannot
nothing
be
you can
prepared.
do, right?
No.
No matter how many books you read or podcasts you listen to, right?
Right.
It's an endless learning process.
Mm-hmm.
So like this idea of not having a village is like, it seems like, why would you not do that?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Please find somebody, lean on somebody.
Yeah.
You know, and not just a somebody, lots of different people, because different brings different, right? So, you know, there are things I would
Oh my
come,
God, yes.
even just with you and Nick, like I could say something to you, you know, about one of the kids and say something to him, the same thing to him.
Yeah, totally.
And there's going to be a different response.
Yeah.
Right? And then I could maybe be like, I like this version better.
Yeah.
I like that, or oh, let me mesh the two, right?
Right.
And that's
Because you know your kids best.
right.
Right? And so like applying it becomes like you're the filter through which everything goes through. And so like then you can really apply it and like do your chemistry experiment with your child.
Yes, chemistry. That's exactly what we're going with. Let's
Like
see.
this is all experimental.
We're going to
for
add a
me.
little this and add a little that, and explosion. Right.
So I think for the audience, like I thought this episode was really important because I would not be the mom I am today without Miss Tara. You know, she's opened my eyes from the very beginning that she walked in to the school to now. So that it's been a friendship that has grown with me. So, and I think it's really important that you know, have these people around you who are going to not only support you, but who also evolve with you, right? Because if you're not evolving, you're dead, right? I just like that's
Yeah.
how I feel. So like this constant state of like learning has become really important. And no, we don't have all the answers, and we don't claim to. But there's this thing of like being on both sides of parenting and also being a teacher that gives us this unique perspective on, you know, the importance of having partnerships in parenting. And if you allow the partners to help you, the stress relief
Right.
that can occur,
Yeah.
the feelings of like being a part of something and being connected is so powerful. You know, I think, you know, you talk about us like really getting close over the last 6 years. I think it's because I've allowed myself to be more vulnerable, you know, and that vulnerability is something that you have to develop with just confidence and trust of letting go, right?
Yeah.
You know, and letting people be a part of your life, because ultimately, and I think what's great about progressive martial arts and just martial arts in general, and having a really good community, is that it allows you to connect with people. And I think that's what's lacking today, because everybody's like,
yeah,
you
on
know?
devices and
But-
heads down and don't talk, and
Yeah.
you know, it is a thing. I think I don't let people not feel the love. I'm just like, you know,
Yeah, no, I know.
come
You're
on,
just like,
feel love. Here we are. And I'm not a hugger though. That's I'm not. Please don't love me from afar. I'll do the same. But it is that thing of, you know, I think if for me it's leaving myself open,
Yeah.
that you can see, hey, I'm open.
Yes.
You know, I'm an approachable person, face, even if I don't feel like it sometimes. I mean, I'm sure there've been those times.
Yeah, because we're stressed out and
you know,
overwhelmed. Yeah.
and that would be anybody, you
Yeah.
know, but it's the openness.
Yes.
You know, and for me at the school, like that's my thing. I want for everybody who comes in to know that they're welcome, that they're a part of this big picture that we have
Yeah.
going on here.
Yeah.
You know, and like I mentioned before, like the puzzle piece that fits perfectly. Anybody who comes in that door is really part of a puzzle piece for us.
Yes.
And the connection.
And everybody matters. They don't think they do. They think they're a number.
Right.
And we're like, no.
I've had parents say, "How do you know everybody's name?" And I'm like, because
could you
I
not?
mean,
Yeah.
I'm getting to know you
Yeah.
on a personal level. Like I want you to feel that. I want you to know what that is.
Yeah. And ultimately, like, it's the community that makes us who we are.
Right.
You know, I'm in awe of like when we have events and all these families and the parents want to leave their kids with us.
Yes.
And I'm like, wow,
don't
you
even
really
know
trust
us. Yeah.
us. But you know, it's such a testament to, you know, what you've created, you know, what we have created as a team.
Yes.
And so I love that, you know, and it's really given me this idea of like, you know, this is what it's about.
Right.
You know, this is what life is about.
Yes.
This is what people should seek out.
Right.
Not just kicking and punching.
No. I mean, because that's all fun and great.
Right, it's wonderful. I love it.
We love when we get to like, you know,
Yeah.
hit things
Yeah.
and, you know, woohoo, I'm not getting into trouble for it.
Yeah.
But it's not just that.
No.
It is building the connections.
Yeah, it's like the least of it, right? It's crazy.
It's the jumping point. You know, it's like, oh, okay, we're coming in for that, and then it takes off into this
thing, yeah.
You know,
this.
what?
Yeah, it's like, and it spreads, right? And I think that's our hope is like, we hope to spread the kindness and like just like the connection.
Yes.
Right. So, thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having
I know
me.
it's nerve-wracking.
A little bit.
So thank you for joining us for this episode of Black Belt Parenting Podcast. I would really love to hear who your partners in parenting are and who your village is. You can like and follow us on any social media platform you're enjoying this on and comment on this section. And please follow us on blackbeltparentingpodcast.com. Thanks for joining us today. Thank you, Tara, for being here. Stay compassionate, stay resilient, and keep nurturing those Black Belt parenting skills. The Black Belt Parenting Podcast is produced and recorded by Press Record Studios.